Last summer, I was out riding my bicycle and I took the time to film a few videos on just ideas that I would like to, share with people that are getting into this life. This is actually probably seeming the silliest, but probably the most important of this three-part series. It has nothing to do with weather. This is what you shouldn't bring with you. Everybody that goes cruising brings way too much stuff. You need way less than you think you need, and these are just some of my thoughts of stuff that I found I did. What to take with you on a cruise and what not to take with you on a cruise. I have an older heavy boat. Part of being a heavy boat is she can carry a lot of weight without affecting her sail ability. In fact, every time I go out, I seem to make her just a little heavier. And when I make a big change, I always wonder, how is this going to affect things? And I get out there and she honestly sails a little better. So I can carry a lot of toys. I'm limited by actual physical space to pack them in. That's the downside of the older boats there. Narrow hull, not a lot of equipment space. Okay, so what do you take? I think I'll do a little short list of, over the years, what I've taken that was a stupid waste of space. And sadly, a lot of these things were too precious to throw away, so I just carried them for a multi-year cruise and then got home and put them in my shed. I guess number one would be all my scuba gear. If you're really into scuba, carry it. My Central American trip, which is like almost 3 years, I guess, I used 1 tank of air in that whole cruise. And it was only because some divers just begged me to go with them. And I really didn't enjoy the dive compared to the other way I dive, because as soon as you get below 20 feet or so, the light goes away, or at least all the good colors go away, because they're preferentially absorbed and you end up just in this blue-green world, except for where your light is. And there's no need for that. There's lots of beauty in the first 20 feet. And those first 20 feet can be reached by holding your breath or a hookah. And I use my hookah a fair amount. I do like the hookah. And it's smaller than my scuba gear, right? So definitely lighter. So I've got a video on how to build your own hookah. Lots of comments on how I'm gonna die, except I haven't. There's that. But just so you know, if you go off and watch that video, which you should, if you're gonna say you need a filter, you need a filter, well, put a filter on it, for God's sake. I don't care, put a filter on it. Put lights on it if you want to. I don't feel it needs one so terribly much. I have like a screen, but I just have different decisions there. Okay, enough of that, probably cut that out. What else have I taken? When I left Seattle, I owned 2 spinnakers, a small one and a big one. And I never used the small one. It would only be for the days where there was way too much wind, in the Puget Sound, for me to want to put a spinnaker up. Well, I brought this little light one, and it could make Temptress move along, in 5 knots of wind. I'd be going like 4.5. Got out sailing and realized in the ocean, there's plenty of wind. Mostly. Not so much in the Pacific, but I didn't want to deal with that big sail when I was single-handing, me and the autopilot. I had all the socks and things to make it easier, but I just found I never in all my cruising put the spinnaker up. So that rode around with me for 3 years using up space, and then it went into a shed. Unneeded sails, don't bring them. It's nice to have a big foresail and a small foresail. On Temptress, I go downwind if I'm going west in the Caribbean with a 150 on the bow roller and of course the main. I go upwind with a Yankee, a proper Yankee, very high foot on the bow roller, and the stay sail rigged, available anyway. Temptress works really well that way, and of course the main. I carry a Storm Trysail, and I would say I never used it except last cruise out. I broke a rule I'm about to tell you, and I tore the hell out of my main. So I put Storm Trysail up just to have a little help back there. Wasn't much, but it was something. And that's all I carry for sails, and that's enough. You might think, spare sails, what if I tear one? Maybe it's because I'm older and wealthier now, but I just think it's because I'm older and I've decided where I want to spend my money. Check your sails. Sailmaker once told me if you can push a ballpoint pen through the cloth, don't worry that you just put a hole in your sail. It's time to replace your sail. Probably a valid test. If your sails aren't in good enough condition to last a while, and they'll last a long time. I'm not talking about getting a new one every year. 10 years still should be okay, depending how much sun these sails have been allowed to see, of course. Anyway, if your sails are dodgy, don't carry a spare, don't carry the old one. Toss it and get a new one. Sails are so much cheaper than they used to be. And honestly, the process of getting one from Asia is quite painless. I did a few videos on it because I replaced my main. I used Lee sails. I chose them because, well, I don't like to do what everybody does, you might notice. And lots of people have reviewed the other sail makers. Lee's a smaller, I guess, operation, at least publicly. But they've been around forever. Back when I owned a 25-foot boat, I bought a spinnaker for it, and I had Lee Sails make it, and they did a marvelous job, and they were easy to work with. And now 30 some years later, they did that main and they did a marvelous job, and they were easy to work with. So use whoever you want to use, whoever gives you the best price for what you want, but don't go off of crappy sails. That's one of the places you want to spend some money. It seems like a lot when you buy them, but they're going to last a very long time. And having just done it, you do not want to be without a main working sail. In that situation, I had to travel upwind many days, motoring at like 3 and 4 knots because of the conditions. And a hurricane was coming right at me. And I had to race the hurricane by powering into it. Anyway, don't want to do that again. What else don't I carry? I just took the heater off Temptress. Had a diesel heater, kind of like a little stove that would do nothing but burn diesel fuel and heat the boat. But I don't know. I didn't mind it being on the boat. It was more an Emily thing. She wanted it off. It didn't use up that much space just because it was in a place that was fine. But if you're going to the tropics, you probably don't need things like heaters. You don't need all the clothes you think you're going to need. People take all this clothing, and you're going to live a life where laundry's a pain in the butt. And you're going to wear the same shirt a couple days and, you know, shorts for a long time. You don't need a whole bunch. And then when they get dirty, if you're doing the laundry by hand, you don't want to do a huge batch. You don't have this big laundry machine that can do, you know, family of 4's 2 weeks worth of laundry in one shot. So just a little bit of clothes, enough that you can wash them in a bucket. You're fine. Food, I carry a lot of food. But I like the idea of being independent and going out to an island somewhere and having everything I want At one point, I updated the size of the freezer so I could carry more meats. And that has more to do with the fact that I don't eat seafood. So I carry a 3 cubic foot freezer, and that's made life better. I weighed it once, and it seems as though when I leave a place with good provisions, I literally carry, oh geez. Now I don't remember if it was 1,000 pounds or 2,000 pounds, but it's a lot of food. That makes shopping not a priority. If you want to spend a month somewhere, just spend a month somewhere.